Our Snapshot product makes it very easy to identify unused fields and pick lists and then remove them from any Salesforce account. So first, set up your visual deployment pipeline in Snapshot and right-click on any of the items and bring up the field usage report. Now this report will let you select any one of your objects over here at left, and you can choose what records to select, either records by name, records with a filter, or just all records. When you've selected an object and a set of records, go to the Preview Report tab. This report will work with Salesforce Orgs of any size and runs in just a few minutes. And what it shows you is all of the different account fields down the left-hand side, and then for any field, it shows you which ones have the most total values, values that are the default, empty values, and how many have distinct values. So for example, account name has 75% distinct values, whereas account state has only 8% distinct. So if a field has a lot of distinct values, that means it's probably being used. But as you look up here, you'll see some fields have very few distinct values, and that might be because they tend to be empty or they tend to just have the default value. We also provide some very useful information here in the details. It will tell you when a field was created and when a field was last modified. So you might find a field that's mainly empty, but it was just created. Or you might find a field that was mainly empty that was created years ago. And so you might take a different course of action depending on what you find. You can also click on any of these rows and see the least and most popular values over here to the right. So when you've selected a number of objects that you care about, you can then click on the Display Report tab and it will give you a comprehensive report of all of those objects. And of course, these reports can be shared as CSV, PDF, or HTML with your team members. So there's another report that's like field usage. It's called Picklist usage. And it does pretty much the exact same thing, except it gives you a breakdown on every pick list value. So here we are in the account object. We can see which pick list values are the most used and the least used, and we can also see that by record type, or we can turn off record types if you want. And once again, you can export this as a report. So once you've identified fields and pick lists that are not being used, you can decide what to do about it. But for example, you could go into our deployment interface and choose assets that you want to delete, or you could even go into individual fields and delete those as well and move those out of your Salesforce org. Okay, so this is a brief movie on how to use the field usage report and the pick list usage report to identify unused fields and pick lists and then remove them from your Salesforce org.